Hiya Kerith family, I hope you're well this week as we enter into our first week of September, and we're into the autumn now, although the sun is still shining, which is nice, but maybe your kids are back at school, maybe you're back at work after being on holiday, maybe you're starting a new course. We've got our Kerith Academy year starting again this coming week with new students starting on that. Maybe you're in a new year at school, new year at college. I don't know what is new for you or the things that you're going back to this week, but I hope you're well. And this weekend just gone, we finished the Galatians series. You know, this series from Galatians 5 called Life by the Spirit. And over August, we've been going through Galatians 5, verses 13 through to 26. And it was my job to finish us off on Sunday. And all the services in Bracknell and over in Sandhurst as well, we looked at this passage together. This is ahead of next week when Windsor starts as well. Kerith Windsor will be starting weekly this coming Sunday, on Sunday the 9th of September. So it would be great for us all to be praying for that. Maybe if you're in your small group now, watching this in your small group or in preparation for your small group, then I encourage you, why don't you spend some time praying for Windsor, for Leon and Diva Johnson as they lead that and as they're leading the way with the team over there. Let's just be praying for Windsor as they start this week. So, but anyway, we're finishing this season in Galatians, and if you remember, I was looking at verse 25 and 26, which I'll read now, and I've got a couple of encouragements and a couple of things that I would love for you to do, to think through and pray through in your small group together or on your own or with some trusted people that you love to talk about this stuff with. So the two verses say this from verse 25: "Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking and envying one another." And so this passage had two sentences that almost seem like they're different subjects. One seems about the Holy Spirit and the other is about relationships. And if you remember on Sunday, I looked at this idea that actually the Holy Spirit, the way we interact with the Holy Spirit, if we can keep in step with the Holy Spirit and have him as Lord of our life, he will directly impact the relationships that we have with one another. And so something I'd love you to do is to begin to ponder that. Maybe you want to discuss as a starter in your groups what stuck out for you in these two phrases, these two sentences, what's remained with you since Sunday and what we talked about. Some of us, as we become conceited, can slip into sort of superiority kind of way of thinking, and others as us slip into inferiority ways of living and behaving as we seek to kind of gain approval and acceptance and adoration and glory from others. But actually the Holy Spirit causes us to step in line with the Holy Spirit, keep in step with him, and then as we do that, we'll have a healthy self-image and we won't feel the need to compare ourselves, whether we think of ourselves as better than others or less than others. In fact, we won't be focused on ourselves, we'll be focused on God and others. So what stuck out for you? That's where I'd love you to start. But also, something I'd love you to do when it comes to Galatians is a letter. And so as we get letters nowadays, we read them from start to end, don't we? We read them from the beginning all the way through to the end. And so I'd love for you actually in your small group to just take, I think it would take about 10 minutes, if that, for one person in your group just to read it out loud to the rest of the group, the whole letter from the beginning to the end. Because actually when Paul originally wrote it, that's how it would have been read, as he read it to the churches in Galatia. And so why don't you do that? And then off the back of that, just be like, what stuck out for you? What did you feel is this overall message coming from Paul in the letter of Galatians? So start with that, then get into talking about the relationship stuff. And the thing I would love you to maybe pray through together and to ponder together as you hopefully sit in a place with people who you could be open with and honest with, is to take some time to pray for one another in terms of us having the Holy Spirit as Lord of our lives, but actually also to begin to think through, where are the relationships in my life at? You know, maybe you are in some places where your relationships, maybe friends or family members or other people in church or your colleagues, maybe they're not in a place where they could be and should be. Maybe you have relationships that are dry or fractured or broken in some way. Maybe you are avoiding certain people or certain people groups maybe. And what I'd love you to do in your groups is maybe take some time to minister to one another this evening, this morning, whenever you're meeting, to go, okay, where are we at with our relationships? Feel free to share it in a safe space in your small groups. And then why not take some time to pray for one another? Pray for one another and hold each other accountable to being these people that go, yeah, I want to step in line with the Holy Spirit. I want him to be Lord of my life. And therefore I will begin to see the fruit of the Spirit just expressed in my life, and my relationships will be so much more fruitful because of it. Let's not forget, that the fruit of the Spirit isn't about us trying to kind of squeeze it out and force it. It will naturally come out as we draw closer to the Holy Spirit. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. God bless you this week, and we'll see you next week from the 9th of September, where we start a brand new series in church on Sunday. So I would love to see you there at Bracknell, Sandhurst, or of course in Windsor as well. God bless.